Hi guys! How are you today? Welcome back to my channel, Adventures in America. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn and I'm a dual citizen of the United States and the Philippines. But before we get started, please like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Only eligible passengers are currently allowed in the Philippines. Please remember that the Philippines is not yet open for international tourism and foreign tourists are not yet allowed entry in the Philippines. It doesn't matter if you are fully vaccinated or it doesn't matter if you are coming from a green lane country. Please also remember that the visa on arrival for foreign tourists are suspended since March of 2020. Who are allowed to travel? Filipinos have the right to travel. You needed to present your proof of Filipino citizenship, such as a Philippine passport. However, there are Filipinos whose passport has been lost, damaged, or expired. There is actually a relief or a remedy, so Filipinos without Philippine passport can travel to the Philippines by obtaining a travel document from Philippine Consulate abroad for emergency use. Please remember that this travel document is only allowed for applicants who cannot be issued a Philippine passport and have an emergency travel to the Philippines, such as due to medical or legal reasons or death in the family. This is only a one-time use travel document and it's only good for 30 days from its issuance. So this is only a one-way ticket to the Philippines, and if you needed a Philippine passport, you must apply once you arrive in the Philippines. Another set of passengers are dual citizens. Dual citizens are Filipinos who have acquired a foreign citizenship and at the same time reacquired Filipino citizenship. You actually have two options. If you don't have your Philippine passport, you can present your dual citizenship documents. Another type of passengers are former Filipinos. These are Filipinos who have been naturalized in a foreign country. That means that your Filipino citizenship is renounced upon foreign naturalization. In addition, former Filipinos in possession of Philippine passport becomes void because you are no longer a Filipino. Another important information to remember is that former Filipinos can still travel to the Philippines through the Balikbayan visa. If you are a former Filipino and you still have a valid Philippine passport, does that make you a dual citizen? The answer is no. Former Filipinos who are in possession of an expired or valid Philippine passport after becoming a foreign citizen does not make you a dual citizen. Please remember this. Former Filipinos can travel to the Philippines through the Balikbayan visa program and you can avail this visa upon arrival in the Philippines. In addition, Balikbayan visa is free and you must proceed to Filipino lane upon arrival at the immigration. You need to ask immigration that you will be availing of Balikbayan visa. Also, in addition, you will be granted Balikbayan visa which is valid for 1 year upon arrival in the Philippines. Now, former Filipinos can travel alone or with family members such as a spouse or children. Now, if a former Filipino will be traveling together with foreign spouse or foreign children, both spouse or children can avail of Balikbayan visa and stay in Philippines visa-free for 1 year. The foreign spouse or foreign children traveling together with former Filipino must have a return or onward ticket. Also, foreign spouse or children must have a valid passport for at least 6 months and beyond. Now, let's talk about the immigration entry requirements for former Filipinos. You actually have two options. First, you must have your foreign passport plus your valid or old Philippine passport. If you don't possess an old or valid Philippine passport, you must have a valid or authentic Philippine birth certificate for purposes of proving your former Filipino citizenship. Now, based on the latest A resolution from the Interagency Task Force, there are now new quarantine and testing protocols for eligible passengers is starting November 1st. And this resolution was issued on October 28th, providing for the new list of GREENLANE countries and the proof of vaccination for eligible passengers. There are a new list of countries included in the GREENLANE starting November 1st until November 15th. Here are the list of countries. Now, there are strict protocols regarding no quarantine requirements for those eligible passengers coming from GREENLANE countries. First, you must be in a GREENLANE country in the last 14 days. And second, your vaccination must be verified. And this is really important. Now, if you meet these two requirements, you will not be required to quarantine as long as you are fully vaccinated. Please remember the definition of a fully vaccinated individual. Based on the information from the Interagency Task Force, there are two classifications of passengers. First are the eligible foreign nationals, including former Filipinos. You actually have one option if you wanted to avail of the no quarantine protocol requirement. Former Filipinos are those who are naturalized in a foreign country and have lost their Philippine citizenship, but they are qualified to travel in the Philippines by virtue of the Balikbayan visa. For all eligible foreign nationals and former Filipinos, you must have a negative COVID test 72 hours before departure or prior to departure. And upon arrival, there will be no facility-based quarantine and self-monitor only for symptoms. Another set of passengers are Filipinos or dual citizens or overseas Filipino workers. You actually have two options. The first option is to have a facility-based quarantine until the release of your negative COVID test. And the second option is by taking a negative COVID test or RT-PCR test 72 hours prior to departure. No facility-based quarantine, but you will also self-monitor for symptoms. Another set of passengers are those coming from a GREENLANE country, but you are unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or your vaccination cannot be verified, or there was no 72 hours test before arrival. You must pre-book a hotel for at least 6 days, but you will have a facility-based quarantine in a hotel for 5 days. You will be tested on your 5th day of arrival. Now, there are different set of rules for unvaccinated minor children traveling with vaccinated adults coming from GREENLANE countries. You must also pre-book a hotel for 6 days but stay in a hotel for 5 days. The rule is that unvaccinated or partially vaccinated children traveling with their fully vaccinated parents shall be required to observe the quarantine protocols corresponding to their vaccination status. Now, if you are not coming from a GREENLANE country, automatically, by definition, all other countries not included in the green list will be included in the yellow list. There are also separate protocols. So most Western countries, such as Canada or US, they are included in the yellow list countries. Now, here are the protocols for the vaccinated eligible passengers. First, you must have a pre-booked hotel of 6 days, but you will stay in a hotel for 5 days. Testing will be done on the 5th day. Now, you must also do a home quarantine for 5 days. Now, if you are unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or vaccination cannot be verified, you must pre-book a hotel for at least 8 days, but you will have to quarantine for 7 days. Your test will come on the 7th day of your arrival. Now, you don't need a pre-departure negative test before coming to the Philippines, but you must have your pre-booked hotel of 8 days. You must also home quarantine for 7 days. Now, let's go over the new red list country. There is actually one country from November 1st to November 15th. So that means that if you're coming from this country and this country is Latvia, you will be denied entry if you have been in this country in the last 14 days. Except if you are coming as a transit passenger or an OFW based on repatriation efforts of the government. The rule is that if you are coming from Latvia in the last 14 days, you will be denied entry in the Philippines. Now, let's go over the proof of vaccination for eligible passengers. This is important for purposes of the no quarantine requirement. For overseas Filipino workers and their spouse, parents, or children traveling with them vaccinated in the Philippines or abroad, the proof of vaccination that will be acceptable will be the digital or physical vaccination certificate of the foreign government where they were vaccinated without the need for the reciprocity agreement. Now, for non-overseas Filipino workers vaccinated in the country or abroad, or foreigners vaccinated in the Philippines, these are the acceptable proof of vaccination. VaxCert Digital Vaccination Certificate or Bureau of Quarantine World Health Organization issued ICV, or the national or state digital certificate of the foreign government where they were vaccinated, which has accepted VaxCert under a reciprocal agreement. Now, for foreign nationals vaccinated abroad, World Health Organization issued ICV or national or state digital certificate of the foreign government which has accepted VaxCert PH under a reciprocity agreement. Now, here are the entry requirements for all eligible passengers. First, 72-hour negative test prior to arrival in the Philippines if you are fully vaccinated or coming from a GREENLANE country. And second, foreign nationals, including former Filipinos, must pre-book a hotel quarantine depending if you are coming from a GREENLANE country or yellow list country. You must also register through the Onehealthpass and fill out the Traze App for contact tracing. In addition, you must also register for the ECIF for COVID testing, PADLAB for foreign airline passengers, and PAL ECIF for Philippine airline passengers. For overseas Filipino workers, you must register through the Red Cross for COVID testing. Also, you must wear a face mask and a face shield. Now, there is a proposal from the Philippine Airlines, and this is regarding the quarantine protocols for those fully vaccinated. It is proposed that there will be no quarantine for fully vaccinated passengers coming from North America. Now, who will be allowed no quarantine? There are only limited passengers who can avail of the no quarantine protocols. Now, here are the list of passengers. First, North American vaccinated passengers arriving in the Philippines. And the second classification of passengers are Filipinos fully vaccinated in the Philippines who traveled to North America and are returning to the country. Now, there are actually two solutions being offered. First of all, there is a current rule of 72 hours of negative COVID test going to the Philippines. So, one solution is the front loading of the testing process before passengers arrive in the Philippines, and another is the expansion of international gateways. Now, what will be the requirements if this is implemented? First, you must be fully vaccinated. And second, the vaccination must be verified. However, there will be no hotel facility or no quarantine for fully vaccinated. and you don't need to pre-book a hotel if you're already fully vaccinated. However, if your vaccination is unverified or the proof of vaccination is unacceptable, you will have to undergo facility quarantine. And sometimes this happens if you don't bring enough proof. And the current rule is that you must quarantine in a hotel for 5 days and pre-book for at least 6 days. Now, this is the current rule for unvaccinated minor children traveling with vaccinated adult. The current rule, based on the latest interagency resolution, is that there will be 5 days of hotel quarantine with pre-booked hotel of 6 days, and unvaccinated or partially vaccinated minor children shall observe the quarantine protocols corresponding to their vaccination status. There is actually no official implementation date regarding the no quarantine protocols for fully vaccinated from North America, but knowing how the Philippines provide short notifications, this could happen anytime soon, so I'll keep you updated regarding this development. So guys, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you guys for supporting my channel, and I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great